Okay, so now here we are. Welcome each and every one of you, whether you're listening on Zoom or whether you're attending on Facebook or whether you're going to be watching later. Both Tanya and I welcome you to this monthly Living in the Flow show. Live stream, and today we're talking about bliss. And like Tanya and I, we were joking the other day when we were coming up with a name, because some of these words that we come up with, they are so overused, and most of the people don't really realize what they mean. So our motto is a little bit like we're making this kind of cheesy words real. So for those people that are not English speaking, cheesy means a little bit fakey, a little bit full of fake sugar, artificial sugar, but they are very real in this journey. They do become very, very real. Over to you, Tanya.
So, thank you very much, Alexis, once again for this beautiful flow that we share together, and to everyone who's chosen to join us. And interestingly enough, our flow is so preciously in tune that we even chose to wear white and didn't know about it, like consciously. Obviously, we must have known somehow.
Yes,
But
and yes.
bliss is tied into the white color, really. A lot of,
Mm,
like an image, I would say an image of bliss would be someone just blissed out in white light.
mm, mm,
So it makes it's really interesting that it came up for both of us. And I
mm.
didn't think about I'm going to wear white. I just
No,
put something on and
yes.
came on to the live session.
Yes, I just decided about 15 minutes before we started,
Me too. Me
what
too.
we're going to have. And also it's wonderful that like we are on the other sides of the world. So yours is always a beautiful daytime. As you can see, you've got beautiful flowers and everything. And my place is always nighttime. So we kind of complement each other in this way as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the beauty of it is also that we always seem to be going through such different kinds of
Mm,
experiences, but both of those different kinds are so complementary
mm,
that there is no lack of flow either way. So it also brings about this notion, this reality that living in the flow is absolutely diverse. There is
mm,
not one size fits all, and this is the
mm,
only way. It does not exist,
mm.
and that's beautiful
Mm,
to be able
yes,
to have all the diversity, and
exactly.
all of it is just as it is.
Exactly. And also we would also like, before we go into the the full on
A
discussion,
theme.
yeah, we would also like to thank each and every contributor. You know who
Oh,
you are,
yes.
and we thank you from
Thank
the
you.
bottom of our heart, because you make this able to run, because it's requiring technology and all of these kind of things, and it helps us to run this show free. And also, we would like to invite both of us, we would like to invite you to check out our web pages. My newsletter is coming up in a couple of days' time, maybe tomorrow or the day after. So I've had quite a quiet day, a very much of a cave time in the last few weeks. So I haven't really been very active, but things are coming up. So please check out next weekend. Tanya and I are both doing new energy worlds. So if you're interested in that, that's on Saturday. On Sunday, I have a 1 hour live webinar workshop with Mary Magdalene. She will be channeling, talking about vitality. So please check that out. That is a cost at $25. So please check that out. And then at the begin, at kind of like in the middle of next month, there will be a live master space. So if you haven't already, please check out the free 11-day trial of a private membership group, Master Space, where I do video. There's a library. You get discounts on all of my other services. I do regular, I type up regular updates with what is happening for me, inspiration, things like that. there are a lot of things that you can check out, and if you don't like it, you can cancel and you still get 11 days free, but otherwise it's $33 per month energy exchange. And another exciting 3-monthly thing with Mary Magdalene in Yeshua, that it's coming up in November. So that, I think the first one is starting on 14th of November. So that's a 3-month journey. It's quite popular. It's Yeshua and Mary Magdalene doing a class, 3 months journey on essence. So your essence, so you can bring it forward. So we talk every 3 months is different depending on who joins our show, but this time we're doing it over the New Year and Christmas period, because we know that a lot of people that are in these intense times, and also with lockdowns, they perhaps you can't visit your family and your friends, and it will be a great way to spend Christmas. You have 2 live sort of like webinars per month. You have access to the recordings, and also you get a discount for private sessions during that time. And it is a beautiful, beautiful, very deep, very gentle sort of journey that I would like to invite you. And also because I know there's a lot of things happening, I've discounted it, so it's $333 for 3 months, discount from 444. So these are the cool numbers that that sort of come up for the energy exchange. There is also a 3-part payment if you like to do that, so please check that out. And over to you, Tanya.
And I will also share some of the things. But a funny thing I saw just right before we went live was that you and I have exactly 333 friends in common on Facebook.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. What? You see?
Which is, it's just always, all over.
Yeah.
And that essence experience with Mary Magdalene really feels very blissful. And I wish everyone, such a blissful journey, because that's the theme for today. I have also on Sunday, when you are having your channel with Mary Magdalene, on Sunday afternoon, I will be having the Be Beyond Illusion workshop, which happens every other month, and it's highly personalized. It's only for 4 people maximum, and it's live, like we do also the New Energy Waltz. But of course, it's different because everything we do is different, has a different flow and energy to it. And then the following weekend, we have the Impassioned Breath weekend, which is also highly personalized. It's a retreat where people come, maximum 3 people. So we only have 1 vacancy so far. And it can also be done online, so people can be somewhere else and be doing the individual sessions with us, because it's individual. Each person has individual sessions. And the Lightning Showers of Presence is underway, started in September, will end at the end of November, and then another one will be starting in January. Anyway, as Alexis said, you can check out alexissersha.com and inpassioncoaching.com. And in my case, In Passion Coaching and In Passion Creations, you will find all of the retreats, individual sessions, and so on. But the ones that are coming up is Be Beyond Illusion and In Passion Breath weekend. All of them really are for the same purpose, to tune into essence and allow that in our lives, to be that. That's it.
It sounds so delicious. I mean, there is so much that is happening, and there is so much assistance for everyone.
Yes.
And this is also a part of the bliss and the living in the flow, because it's also part of abundance, because there is just like every time when you open, if you sort of um, like tweak your Facebook or whatever you are, whatever social media you use. You can just have these kind of inspirational things all the time. So that's how I've tweaked my Facebook. I have a lot of nature, I have a lot of beautiful photos, a lot of inspirational quotes, and a lot of things from all over the world. And it is just wonderful to be able to use all of this media, that a lot of the people sort of talk, put it down, but if you use it in the right way, it serves you, because everything is our energy and everything serves us. But to come to this place, and this is why this word bliss is so misused, because people keep using it, and people sort of think that it's kind of like, just, oh, you just want to feel blissful. But this bliss, mainly, it really comes down to just full on self acceptance. You accept yourself as you are, you accept everything around you as it is. And there are so many different experiences. Like, for example, yesterday I was kind of being aware. For example, Australia is now a little bit of a pariah in the world. People are kind of going, some groups are saying, oh, let's save Australia, there's all these tyrannical things going on, and the government is becoming so autocratic, and all of these things. And the funny thing is that, yes, for some people this is very much their experience. We have at the moment both things. We have some that are experienced this, and then we have some other parts that are incredibly free, that are experiencing incredible freedom throughout the whole thing. And so being blissful has to do with accepting all of the choices that you have made in your life, all of the suffering, all of the terrible, perhaps some of people have experienced very hard things in life, and yet it is really quite a challenge to come to this place, to accept that, to realize that this is a soul choice to go through this, and then to allow the knowledge, the knowingness, the wisdom from that experience to flow into your life, to be part of your life. And then it's when you really do experience those kind of blissful feelings, because you are so at peace with yourself that this joy just bubbles through you, that you really experience this all is well in all of creation. But it's not because the world has changed, but because you have accepted everything about it. And this is one of those biggest challenges, especially because people that come to this space have such kind hearts. You operate through the heart, and you want everyone to be okay. You want everyone to be joyful. And yet when you look around, this is not the case. And so it does um, include also letting go of that responsibility for other people. And as much as we say it, it is in theory easy, but there's layers and layers and layers and layers. And some of the layers have to do with very much taboo subjects. The taboo, in a way that, as society has taught us, it is not even allowed to think about those kind of things, is not even allowed to feel them, to feel those emotions. But being in the flow, allowing your energy to flow through you, means that you accept everything, but everything about you. And that's when that soul presence that brings that incredible compassion, unconditional love, really comes forth, because this is when you realize what the unconditional love really means. It's when it becomes challenging. And sometimes I feel is like, in the past I felt, wow, how am I ever going to be able to accept that, or forgive that, or come to terms with that? And you just open yourself up, you allow that flow of your soul to be with you, and you follow all of your feelings and all of your emotions, and they always lead you to the release, to the self-healing, and to the bliss. Because again, at the end of that, and at the end, that, so to speak, there is always that feeling of joy and falling in love with yourself over and over again, because behind all the pain and frustration and that's where the joy is. But that frustration needs to move through you and dissolve into neutrality, and then all those final feelings of acceptance, of love, of self-love can actually really be felt and be present with you. And then you feel so comfortable with yourself, so incredibly comfortable. And this is actually a huge place to come, because when you realize that you are a being that is forever, and now that you've come into consciousness and into awareness, you need to be able to be okay with yourself in everything that you've done, that you've experienced, that you have judged yourself with. All of that needs to be dissolved, because you are living with you for eternity, you see. So when you realize that, sometimes even if you know the humanness doesn't want to accept, doesn't want to change, because there is so much resistance at times, when you can actually then feel, wow, I live for eternity, I am eternal, so I might as well not, I might as well, but I have to make peace. And you just do, whether parts of you like it or not, you just choose it, and you step into it, and you allow it, and you allow all of those other things to dissolve, and then you feel bliss. Over to you, Tanya.
Such a beautiful, beautiful sharing. Thank you, Alexis. Very beautiful. I'm just blissing out with it. And so I will continue. That we have brought with us this need to ascend together, because at some point in our evolutionary experience here on earth, we did decide, each soul, but collectively many souls, decided to come at this specific time in order to be able to make it easier, so that we could eventually, each one, not necessarily for each other, but with each other. And that is the big difference, so that each one of us could come to this inner oneness, to this inner complete merge and connection with our divine, at a time where many others were also doing the exact same thing for themselves and in and with themselves, and to see, okay, what will that provide? And so, but that was a long time ago, and so in between we kept on coming and coming, living all sorts of other experiences which were also available to be lived, but that could never come too close to that tipping point where we would really, boom, merge within. And so we kept on playing and playing that, coming closer and going back, coming closer and going back, so that we could be here now. And because we decided that so long ago, when this time actually came, and it is now, it then takes a little bit of conscious awareness to adjust to the fact that it's not because we chose that the earth or the whole of humanity would ascend to the fifth dimension or whatever, that there's so much talk about this, that we would all do it together, in the sense that the whole of humanity would be ascending to another plane or another frequency of being, but that many of us chose to do it for and in and with ourselves at the same time. And so here resides the big difference between having to do it for someone else, or knowing that we are not here to save anyone from their experiences, because we've been through all a vast array of types of experiences, and we are here now. So we know that nothing will come to pass beyond the fact that we are definitely eternal, and that each one will come to that realization in each one's own perfect time. So, one of the things that is really very relevant for us to come to terms with is that each one is doing it for oneself. But at the same time, by doing it for ourselves, we are providing that opportunity, because we open doorways of consciousness and possibilities for many more to tumble into that sphere of consciousness, not because they have to, not because the whole of humanity has to ascend at the same time or anything like that, just because the critical mass of each one's realization provides a completely different landscape of possibilities where we can experience new earth. And now new earth is another misconception, in the sense that it's not about that we have created a planet somewhere else that is called New Earth. And it is also not that the whole of humanity has to ascend for us to experience New Earth. It is actually quite simple. It is so very simple that it is mind blowing. The only thing required is to shift awareness into a different kind of perception of who we are. And that doesn't mean that we can identify, because as soon as we stop identify, that's where we realize who we are without having to be someone specific. But so when I say who we are, in terms of that we are a blend of human and divine, and so much that is beyond our conscious understanding, our comprehension, so to speak. And then we realize, oh, wow, my reality is so different. And then it really, really feels like we are living in parallel dimensions. I really live, I feel myself in a parallel dimension all the time, whilst very firmly grounded on Earth, with no need to travel to other galaxies or to find bliss somewhere else, but very literally experiencing New Earth right here in my home, in my surroundings, with all of the people I interact with. And it doesn't matter whether they are ascending or not, it's completely irrelevant. It is all about us and the energy we are allowing to serve us. And as soon as we start allowing the new energy, which really is energy that comes forth from the blissful fountain of isness, it's energy that is produced in the new now moment, because each now moment is new when lived and perceived from the soul's perspective in a human body. Then that new energy provides a whole different world, our own different world. And then we are no longer living on borrowed energy, because as long as we are in the victim abuser triangle going round in circles, we are living on borrowed energy. We are needing someone else's energy and needing to offer our energy in a way that provide us other energy from outside. We are living on a sort of a bit of how could I say, we call it stuck energy, but it's not necessarily stuck, because all energy is always in motion. But it's stuck in the sense that it provides sameness. It provides routine energy. It provides more of that which we believe to be lacking, of that which we believe to be needing. But once we tumble into that love affair and really allow it to take root and really allow ourselves to just surrender and not need to be anyone, then something really, we call it magical because it seems like magic, but actually something profoundly beautiful happens. And that is that then a new source of energy starts manifesting itself in our reality. And that is what provides endless moments of bliss. But that doesn't mean that it is a constant state, because there are many moments of discomfort because we're living on earth. And for instance, in my case, many times while working with individual people, with clients, I experience a lot of discomfort when, before a session, for instance, I feel the heaviness in someone else's heart, that fear, that terror, whatever it is. And I feel it and I know it's not mine, so it's okay. But of course, it's uncomfortable. Fortunately, when we have the session, it unlocks and goes away, and it has been transmuted and alchemized. But that's just one example of a discomfort that one can experience because we're on earth and we're in a physical body, and it's just all part of being here. So it doesn't mean that it's not blissful to be human, a divine human. It means that on earth, all experiences are a variety. So it's not a continuous, permanent state, but it's there, it's underlying all the time. And another thing I'd like to share, that for instance, I live near a very known place of cult called Fatima. And it has been interesting for me in the last year. I've been to Fatima many times, and I never used to go there. But that's because, not recently, but many years ago, I had a judgment, a lot of judgment around this place. And I realized that these children, the children that felt the love of the Holy Mother with so much passion, with so much love, they themselves were sad because they were not understood. They were not really understood. But what matters here is that the Mother, the Divine, keeps on providing. It doesn't matter whether one understands or one does not. It doesn't matter whether one does something that is deemed to be good or bad. She just keeps on providing. And the Holy Mother, she's within us, within each one of us. And so this place, people come to that place because of the miracles, because so many miracles are provided. But in fact, the miracles are provided because one becomes available in that deep faith to receive them. And this in itself is blissful. So it doesn't really matter what we believe to be good or bad, right or wrong. In this case, we're talking about a religious place. It doesn't matter what our beliefs religiously are. It doesn't matter. What really matters for us to be able to experience those profound moments of connection and bliss is where our heart is. That's what provides it. And our heart, when I say our heart, the heart is like the brain of the soul. So if I'm allowing the heart to be that, then what will be provided for me is always a natural consequence of being thought by the soul. And so that's where bliss really comes from. It comes from deep within each one of us, but only when we are able to then step aside and invite all of that which we do not accept, which we are in resistance with, which we are in rejection about, invite it to just be also embraced, just like the Divine Mother permanently does, embracing all that is, always. So that is how bliss comes to be, a much more tangible, real thing. It's not something that we seek somewhere in a specific place or with specific people. It's a state of being
Mm,
in surrender,
mhm,
of getting out of our own way
mhm,
to be able to receive that, which
mhm,
is the permanent love
mhm.
of divine and human coming into form, coming into shape. Over to you, dear Alexis.
Thank you, Tanya. Like I could feel all these beautiful pictures and all the beautiful energies to flowing as you are talking. As you know, as we are sort of as we have created all of the participants, with all of the participants we've created this space, and we can relax and we can allow all of these energies to come home. And there are so many, I find there are so many different ways of feeling blissful, of feeling at peace, because like one of them is that when you find the wisdom of all of your choices and you keep falling in love with yourself. And then there is a stage also, there are many different stages of this experience. And you know, there are times when you do need to be with people only, or on your own, or just in contact with people that are on a similar journey. And then comes a time when you open up to everyone and you realize that, you know, every single human being experiences states of bliss. Like I didn't realize that until well, really into this journey, because you know, before that, and I can see that a lot of people, for example, you have therapists and psychologists, and these people, they have such a good heart and they want to help, and yet they would say, oh my gosh, I have to, you know, be a martyr myself so that I can show this other person love, because some people have never experienced love. You know, look at this person, how they've grown in this kind of situation and that kind of situation. And that is actually not correct, because like if you've had those kind of deep experiences and experiences of suffering, for example, there are also experiences of bliss. Every single person, doesn't matter whether they've gone through wars, whether they've gone through, because we can't know what the other person is experiencing, and yet every person is a soul being, so they have experienced love. Even if on the outside, let's say if you see a street kid on the outside, you think, oh my gosh, that person just experienced abandonment. It's not true, because each day, even perhaps like in that an amazing state when there's a sunrise, or perhaps with an animal, with a bird, with another human, they experience, they have, each human being has those kind of experiences. And then when you come to this different stage, when you open yourself up and you realize, wow, okay, so here we are, part of humanity. Every person, when you talk about love, they know what that means. When you talk about bliss, they know what that means. They may not be experiencing it right now, but they've had experience with it at whatever part time in their life, perhaps in childhood, perhaps very long time ago, perhaps they have forgotten. And this is also, but it doesn't matter, because you can find all these different things to relate with everyone. And this is such a relief when you realize, wow, I can still now relate with my family members, that perhaps, you know, when you were going through, when you go through the deepest of the deep things, you perhaps take a break and stuff like that, you come back in a different way, in an accepting way. And also you can find all these different things to relate with people, and yet you do also need that time where you honor yourself, where you experience those blissful times with yourself. Because um, there is a balance. You need to find a balance with your life. You create this space where you experience this falling in love with yourself over and over again, with yourself in this acceptance space, in this space of non-judgment, in this space of just discovery. Because when we are alive, and we always are alive, even when we leave, let's say, the earth, that person that leaves, you're alive as spirit, as a being. The journeys never stop. And so even like, for example, let's say if you've realized yourself and you're a master, you continually choose all these different kind of experiences, journeys. You go deep into things, you go up and you experience yourself in a different way from this place and that place. And then certain journey comes to an end, and again you come into this blissful state when you feel yourself, and you feel yourself so intimately. So you are so connected, you are so in touch with yourself, you are so in touch with all your energy, with your surroundings. Like, for example, I can feel the computer. I feel myself as computer because it's part of my energy. I feel myself as desk. I feel myself as chair. You can sort of go in and out of all these kind of different etheric experiences while you are very, very grounded and very physical. And these are some of those things that, for those that perhaps are just starting, or for those that are deeply in the integration of the shadow part, you have so much to look forward to, because this kind of wonderful, fabulous, delicious, uh, um, fine states of being are so available to you, and you can kind of move from reality to reality, and life reacts to you in a very, very different way. Like, things just start, things come together. Animals just see you as a friend. The flowers, you can feel them rejoicing. You can communicate with all of the different parts of your world, with all of the parts of your world, with the road, with the brick, with the cement. Even things that perhaps at some time they were very noisy, or were very, how can I say, not their vibration was perhaps very annoying to you. All of a sudden you realize even that is your energy, and you can allow it, you can neutralize it. It is just this part of this huge tapestry of life. And you come to this place where all of a sudden you feel yourself eternal, and you feel yourself where the whole thing is at your fingertips. The whole world is your oyster, and you just choose your experiences, and you play, and you are thrilled, and you go out, and you have no fear. You go out and you just experience, and you see other people, perhaps they're so closed in, into, but you're just open, free flowing, open, excited to see what the day is going to bring, because you know that it always, yes, it does have frustration also, and yet you know that this too shall pass, this too will move on, and you are again coming to that place of being at such incredible peace with yourself. And everything around you feels alive, like even the air is vibrating with this vitality, alive, responding, dancing to you, with you. And all of that, it can sound like some kind of fantasy, and yet it is very, very real. After that essential work that you do, of all that release, of all of that acceptance, you get into this very, very incredible space. And it is not like that you know everything that is going to happen, but you don't care what is going to happen. You don't even care that much. You come to the fork in the road. Oh, am I going to go take this one? Am I going, like, as a human being, before, when I was separated, I remember how stressful it was to make choices. And sometimes I would procrastinate for a long time. And sometimes I wouldn't make choices at all, because I was always so concerned. What about if I make the wrong choice? Because, of course, everyone knows that opportunity only comes once. And if you miss it, lo and behold, you're going to be in trouble. You're never going to have another opportunity. You see, this is the kind of old way of thinking of things. But in this new way, it doesn't matter. Do I choose this road? Do I choose that road? Every road is going to take me to exciting experiences. And that road that you didn't choose, it ceases to exist. It's not like something better is happening there, because your consciousness goes where you are your consciousness, you are consciousness. And so things happen where you are, not on some missed road or some missed opportunity. You see, so these are such different, this is such a different way of being. And it is all to do with you accepting who you are, this greater self, the soul self, the I am that I am. You accept that, who you are, and you allow that to come in. You allow that to cleanse your life. You allow that to do whatever is necessary to do. And then you live in this kind of completely different way, because you live with yourself. You choose with yourself. Whatever is happening, you are with that. You allow all these different perspective, nuances, knowingnesses to work with whatever issue you have, and it resolves, and you watch it resolve. Your confidence in yourself grows in this way. You trust in yourself grows with each and every experiences that you have in that way. And you know that whatever comes on that road that you've chosen, it will be wonderful. You don't have to stress about it. It will just be there. And again, it will be so you. Whatever happens on that road will be so incredibly you. And yet you didn't have to plan for it. You didn't have to prepare it. You didn't have to work out these minute details. You just go and you say, well, I want to have a wonderful experience. And then you surprise yourself. And then you realize, wow, how perfect that was, so tailored to exactly me. And why? Because it's you who created, you who intimately know who you are on so many different levels and in such depth that you know yourself and you're so comfortable with yourself. And so you create from this space, and your creations are very different. And while the world, other people may be going through all these incredibly stressful times, through all these restrictions, you are having the time of your life. And that too is something that you've dealt along the way, so that you don't feel that guilt, you don't feel that shame, because you know that just by being here as this kind of a master, you're changing energy, you're changing potentials for everyone else. But of course, they have to choose. And it's not only that you are doing it, but everything is working with you. So if you look at what Earth is doing, for example, it is in the space of Milky Way that we have never as humanity been before. Because don't quote me on that, but I think we saw our solar system goes around the Milky Way, I think in about 32 million years, 32 million years. And the human being has been around for about 8 million years. So as humanity, we've never gone a full circle around the Milky Way. And so every time we come to this new area of the Milky Way, we experience new energies, new gamma rays, solar winds, meteors. All of these things are bringing energy to support us, to help us on the way. Even the weather, when you go into this kind of synchronistic living, the storms, the heat, everything works with you, for you, because you have completely changed your whole perspective of like Tanya so beautifully describes, your energy is this new energy. This is the support, and this support works in a very, very different way. You are vulnerable with it, you are trusting with it, you're open with it, you're joyful with it, you're playful with it, you are exploring with it. There is no fear, like very, very childlike, but with incredible wisdom, because we have so many lifetimes, other lifetimes, that we've actually come to this, that assist us. And they too other lifetimes of our soul, with some called past lifetimes, some called parallel lifetimes, because they are all present. They're all happening right now, like on a buffet table. They too are experiencing this kind of renaissance in their life, and their life has changed because of you, because what you are allowing, because what you are doing, because what you are are allowing to unfold in your life, with everything that you are and who you are, and all of the skills and abilities are inside of you. And that too is blissful to realize, when you actually have that experience, when you know that everything is inside of you and it is not just a theory. Over to you, Tanya.
I am again just breathing the beauty of what you're sharing, feeling it, sensing the wholeness of it, and it just is that space of silence where you behold, where you behold. But okay, to continue, let's see what comes up. One thing is what you mentioned, this too shall pass, is for me one of the most relevant teachings from divine wisdom, and that is important to keep with us, no matter whether we are living something extraordinarily beautiful or whether we are living something that we would rather not be. But not in the sense that we keep that so that it goes faster. No, exactly not. But just so that we know that we can allow ourselves to fully live whatever the experience is that we are living, because we know that it always flows continuously, nothing stays static. It might seem to. It does in belief systems and patterns that want to keep things static, but then we witness constantly that that is not so. So, though the belief systems and the patterns that we have learned in this lifetime and in others may seem to be keeping us stuck, in actual fact, we have in our daily lives, everyone, no matter what they are experiencing, the example that this too shall pass, that nothing stays framed in a certain way forever. And though those parts of us that are framed within those beliefs, those patterns, those whatever, those traumatic ideas that keep us safe so that we don't repeat this or that, whatever is the belief. So those parts are in fact stuck in a loop, experiencing the same thing over and over again. But as a whole, we are not in our own life. Our whole life is not over and over again the same thing. So, gaining that perspective for whoever is going through the challenging period of integrating the shadow self, of integrating that which seems to be highly unlovable and unacceptable, it is relevant to realize that we are not really stuck. It's only a perception. So if even we can just shift that and come into a space of flow by, for instance, using the breath as that permanent example. The breath is so rich, not only in what it brings us each time we breathe, in terms of nutrients and all of that, but the breath itself is a permanent example of this too shall pass. And we cannot hold on to either the in breath or the out breath, because we would then, of course, leave our physicality and then not be able to go on living this experience in physical form. So it is permanently inviting us to let go. So to receive the in-breath fully, to really allow it to imbibe us with all of the richness it brings, and then with gratitude to let it go, and to let it go fully, to not need to hold on to any little piece for fear that that abundant feeling or whatever is not going to be there anymore. There are no repetitions really, though we do like to believe that things can be reproduced in the same way or whatever. It's a belief system that keeps things sort of under control, but again, it's an illusionary belief system that somehow we can reproduce any kind of feeling, any kind of experience. So, being able to receive each experience fully and really, really have it, then gives us the freedom to be able to let it go fully so that we can receive another one and another one and another one in a constant receiving fully, letting go fully. And that quality of being able to receive fully each moment pervades our entire reality with that abundance, with that complete gratitude, with that basically transforming everything into somehow into bliss, but not necessarily in the way we in the mind conceive it to be. So it's just a constant ebb and flow, like the waves of the ocean that crash into each other, and it never seems to have an end. We can just watch the waves of the ocean going back and forth forever, and it just goes on and on. And sometimes the sea is more rough, and sometimes the sea is more calm, but they're always there. The waves are always there. The ocean always has waves. So is our experience. And another beautiful thing that was coming forward from what you were sharing now has actually slipped my mind, so I'll just let whatever whatever is now in my feeling to come forward. But there was something else that I was feeling into while you were sharing, but it doesn't really matter. Another relevant thing that I'd like to share to whoever is going through that challenging time that seems never ending and therefore might seem overwhelming, that challenging time of integration, of bringing back home the parts that were somehow left waiting in time and space. Another thing is, if you can just let go of the expectation of how it's gonna be and fully trust, just like Alexis was saying, fully trust that it's gonna be perfect. Not what your mind believes perfect to be, but it's gonna be perfect and made just for you. Can you receive that much? Can you receive a life that has been prepared as you go along just for you, with its unique qualities, with everything that you love, that you really enjoy to be in? Just allow that and know that that is what will come to pass. So then you can just stay in that experience of integration, being grateful because each part of you that shows itself, be it fearful, be it anguished, whatever, each part of the shadow self that shows itself is abundance, is your abundance coming home to you. Now, how beautiful can it get that you are finally ready to get that part back? So when a part of you shows up that seems scary and that eventually is a bit hard to deal with, if you could just take a breath and smile at the fact that that is your abundance right there, standing right in front of you. Because as soon as you can love that so much that it will dissolve and disappear and no longer be necessary, then there is more here for you. And then there is just more and more and more. So it's not about making plans of what it's going to be like after integration. And it's not about expectation of how it's going to feel. It's about being so fully present to your now moment, whatever it feels like right now, that you do not need to escape it at all, because each time you try and escape your now moment, you are simply escaping bliss. You're simply escaping your abundance. You're simply escaping you. More of you. And that's fine. That's also an experience. We have been master escapists for eons of time. It's an experience. And it has been fun a lot of the time, even though it didn't seem to many times. If it weren't fun, we wouldn't be experiencing and we wouldn't perpetuate it. But when that moment comes to you that you feel, okay, I'm done with escaping, then you realize, oh, it's okay to have been an escape artist. And it's also okay to no longer need to escape anything. That's when you are here and you can receive it all. That's what produces the bliss, is the capacity to be fully present in your now moment and to be fully open no matter what. And in this, it makes a whole lot of a difference if you are being fully open with the notion that you're surrendering to your soul, that you're surrendering to your divine essence. And the difference is that when you are surrendering to your essence, you don't need to worry about how to get past this, how to deal with this. You don't need to. You just hand it over. And your essence, your soul, will dissolve that which you are allowing yourself to let go of, to let go the grip of. It will dissolve it. And you will become emptier and emptier and emptier, so that the whole of life breathes through you. So you're so empty that it's just a constant breath flowing through you. Life becomes that. Life becomes that kind of fulfilling experience of being empty and yet completely full. And this is provided by staying present, available to you, to receiving all of you back home, no matter what it seems to be, no matter how it has been. It is your opportunity right now. You have each now moment the opportunity to make that choice to shift perspective. It's really all about shifting perspective. So when you hand your perspective over to your essence and you allow yourself to see through those eyes, everything starts changing gradually, and you are no longer stuck. No matter where you are at in your integration of divine and human as one, it doesn't matter. It's not because you eventually perceive someone else to be more progressed or whatever, that they are more capable of having a blissful life than you. That is just your perception of eventually feeling less than all that you truly are. No one is less than whole. We have just been experiencing that. It has had a purpose for us to experience ourselves as less than whole. But we have never been less than whole, in fact. It's just been a perception that we have given ourselves. So that once again, when we come back into that wholeness, it's completely different. Because it's enriched by all of the experiences of lack of wholeness. It's so much more than it could have been if we had stayed within the perception of being whole all the time. So in all of this resides so much bliss. It is a freedom, really, a freedom to allow more. That's all. That's all there is in the invitation of the soul. Can you allow more? And it's over and over again. Can you allow more? And I find, in my case, my essence, my soul, is very blended with the human. So I don't really call myself this name or that, because it's I have chosen to allow the blend a lot. Of course, that has consequences. Sometimes it's hard to think. Certain things I really cannot wrap my mind around, but that's the consequence I have chosen for my experience. So I've chosen the blend to be more and more that, just that experience of blend. What I find is that continuously there is this balance between the moments of being in retreat, in being just with myself and not speaking to anyone else, not having anyone else in my immediate environment, to just be able to be in that peaceful, serene, complete silence that needs absolutely nothing, and just stay in that. And then I am continuously invited, so in waves, to open up even more, to be able to allow others into my life. And then no matter what kind of others, to remove all judgments, all preconceived ideas about what that person thinks and how that person is and whatever, and allow these people to come closer, and allow myself to experience people in a different way, and basically training my resilience to being here on earth with no borders, so that I can be in any place with anyone and feel that bliss anyway. So the way my wisdom trains me in this is, when it starts getting a little bit too much, okay, let's pull back, let's just stay, let's just stay here and enjoy the peace and the silence and no one and that. And then okay, and then the invitation comes again. Okay, now let's be with others and experience the joy of being able to be on earth on a different frequency, and to not be sharing dramatic experiences again with other people, and no matter where they are at. in their perception. So each one can be wherever they are, it doesn't really matter. But because you're not in that dramatic sphere, that's what you will be bringing forth into your experience. So you'll be able to experience that with more and more people and in more and more places. So my experience of that is like gaining resilience with the earth experience from the point of the divine human, because the physical body does feel, and it can be uncomfortable until it isn't. But if we don't provide ourselves with it, we never go past the point where where we felt discomfort. So it's the same thing with integration of oneself, of our own aspects. Same thing. If we don't allow that discomfort, we never get past it. It's all the same thing. It's always an interplay, because we are one with this earth. Though it seems to be something else, it's just a whole experience of each person, each animal, each plant, and earth itself, in the Milky Way, in the whole of the universe. That's where you realize that the concept of oneness becomes so diffuse that it's even not something that can be put into words. That's why there's been so much misconception around it, because it's not something to be explained. It's just something that each one feels and falls into gradually at one's own pace. So the invitation I would like to leave here today is allow yourself the abundance of being here now for you, for all of you, no matter what, for the whole of you. And in this is the peace of not having to search anywhere else, of not having to do anything per se, of just being the one whom everything comes back home to, and from which everything then is born in a new way. Thank you very much, Alexis, for being in that space of just holding the vision. Thank you.
And thank you, dear Tanya. And I am Yeshua. I came, I just could not stay silent. I have been in this circle with you from the beginning, and I am just enjoying, even though I don't have a physical body, I have an etheric body, I have a light body. I am enjoying the presence of each and every one of you who are on this incredible journey, who are experiencing the it. What is this it? It is this coming together of human and coming together of soul into the oneness. Like Tanya mentioned, regardless of where you are on this journey, you see, I haven't left any books to you because I haven't left MP3s or videos for you, because at the time when I was physical, we didn't have that. But if I did, what would I leave you? What would be my legacy? My legacy would be all of those times when I have been enjoying, when I have been sensual, when I have been enjoying my time with friends, with my partner, with myself, coming back to myself, as you so beautifully described, being okay with myself in that now moment, being accepting everything about me, letting go of those crazy ideas about what is perfection, and realizing that even in the throes of the deepest agony of life, I was perfect. The situation was perfect. Everything was perfect. and the orgasmic experience when you realize that, when you are at one with yourself, when you feel so comfortable with being you, who you are, when you allow yourself just to be you as you are, perfect in any situation that you find yourself. And I hear you. You're saying, but oh my gosh, look at this terrible situation. I mean, I've tried and I tried and I tried to resolve this, and it keeps coming back. And yet, like you've been talking about the Milky Way and the movement of Earth, even if you think of it from this point of view, Earth is moving 30 seconds per 30 kilometers per second, I believe, each second. So you never are in the same space. You never are in the same place. You see, it just needs a little bit of a perspective change and a little bit of humor and a lot of allowing and a lot of loving and a lot of being with you. And if you find yourself distracted, use those those things, those techniques that have proven through time and time again to be effective, like feeling your body, loving your body, coming back to your body. Feel where your hands are. Feel what your ears are hearing. Smell, feel what your nose is smelling. This is how you come back to here, into the presence of yourself, into the presence of your body. Do you remember that your body is your soul? Everything that you look around is your soul, is you, is your energy, is divine. And so when you take that kind of perspective, how can you say that you don't like the trouble? Because even the trouble is divine. Everything cannot be but divine, because this is who you are. You are divine in experience. So feel that, breathe that, be that in those deep moments when you are alone. And if you feel like crying, cry. Cleanse yourself. Allow all of these energies. Allow that presence, that incredible presence of you as a soul to be with you in the quietness of the night, in the noise of the day, in the bustle and hustle. When you feel that presence, you always feel that eternity. You always feel forever. You always feel that incredible peace, that incredible quietness that Tanya so beautifully demonstrated, felt, talked about, explained. You are where you are in a perfect divine moment. Nothing to change, but be, but experience. And even in the most deepest of troubles, as your mind perceives troubles, there is bliss. When you take this kind of perception, when you take this kind of perspective, you are incredible, divine being. Celebrate that, be that, and come over and over again into the now moment, because in the now moment, you will find also characters like me, Yeshua. You will find all of your non-physical friends. Once you hear us, you won't be able to switch us off. But we are very kind and we are very considerate, so we do give you a lot of space. And yet, if you want, call on my presence, for I can shine my light. I won't do it on your behalf, for you don't need help. You perhaps sometimes want assistance in a way of reminders, in a way of feeling another's radiance. Feel my joy, for I am joyful. I am happy. I am blissful. Long have I left behind all the different happenings. And my experience of the last 2000 years has been very, very different than what they teach in church on a Sunday school. But it matters not. For even like Tanya mentioned before, even in those spaces, people find peace. And in those spaces, in those buildings, you can find peace because so many people have gone there, have prayed, have been in the presence of their soul because that's where they felt safe to allow it. And you can feel it, you can read it, you can perceive all of the different stories, all of the different voices of other people. And it is beautiful. And that is why so many are often drawn to this kind of places of worship. But as you know, you don't need to go anywhere. For your sacred space, your sacred place is right where you are, right where you are. And I leave you here. Over to you, Tanya.
Thank you so much. Wow. Actually, that was a beautiful wrap up for the whole sharing that we have provided here. Thank you very much, Yeshua, for coming forward, and Alexis for providing that. That really sums up very simply and naturally the whole session here. I'd like to share something here. I have a book called Soul Songs, which came out this year. And I have some cards here. So I'll take, the book has some cards that accompany it. And it's really about my experience of falling in love with Soul and how she, I call her she, but it could be she or he, it doesn't really matter, invited me every single day. And because every day I used to ask, okay, so what would you like to experience today? So that's how I during my integration process, during my integration time, that's how I allowed myself to make so many changes, because I was available. Okay, how would you like to experience today? And so each day was a different, it could be a very simple normal day, but it was always experienced from a different perspective. So how does Soul experience this? How does Soul experience that? And it was so beautiful that the book is really about inviting each one to also go through that process of listening to each one's own soul. So what is the invitation for today? So I'll draw one card from here, which is an invitation. So the soul songs, they all come with a flower. And the soul song is what is really the invitation from our souls. And it says, all of them start like this: if you knew you are an angel, would you inhale the sweetness of you and fill your world with gentle, loving care? Or would you still believe there is not much for you here?
That's
So this
beautiful.
really
And a beautiful
wraps up our
reminder.
sharing.
We do have a question also. We have a question as well.
Yeah.
But what a beautiful way, because it is, I think it's these kind of reminders that we need. And what a beautiful way to remind and to change the theme and to invite yourself to experience that theme, of the day, because we this is what we forget, don't we? We forget over
Yeah.
and over because we live surrounded by mass consciousness, and we need these kind of little reminders to just, wow, what this is a beautiful way, Tanya, to sort of go about your day.
Yeah, thank you. And it served me so well to go on this
Mm.
journey with the soul songs and have these invitations every single day. And
Mm.
oh, okay, let me tune into a different
Yeah,
frequency.
because I can see how it will completely change. Like, if you see, because this is like when you take the perspective, if you go about your day looking at it, being the angel rather than a separated human, then you're experiencing mastery in that day. That's
Yeah.
it. There's nothing
Yeah.
more to add. There's nothing more to say. Like, there's no more words. So
Yeah.
that's it. All right. So let's have a look at the question. And for all of you that are joining us on Zoom, you can always add your questions that we attend to at the end. Okay. So hello, beautiful hearts, and thanks for your guidance and wisdom. I feel that these days I'm able to see lots of my energy locked in different patterns. This is blissful indeed. I see the fear as well that tells me that I might be alone again, and I choose to allow transformations to accept and bring me home, all of past. Well, this is another beautiful
Beautiful.
summary. There's
Thank
nothing to
you.
add.
No, it's just a beautiful summary of the whole
Yeah,
sharing here.
because this is the whole thing, is that you yourself deal with everything yourself, and you continually discover ways of beautifully dealing with everything that comes your way. And remember, so you are the person that deals with it, you are the being that experiences it, and you are also the being that creates it, and you are also the being within which the creation happens. You see, so you are all of these things. And so perhaps do one day with that kind of, point of view, when you see everything as you, as your soul. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think we're wrapping up. It has been beautiful. Thank you, dear Tanya, and thank you each
Thank
and
you, dear
everyone that
Alexis.
has attended live and will attend later.
Yes, thank you, everyone, because it does make a lot of a difference that you are also here,
Mm,
because it's the sum total of our
mm,
presence that
mm,
provides more.
mm. And I feel you, and whether
Yes,
you're participating later, because every person, every being changes, contributes, and changes the energy of a whole group, and we wouldn't
yes,
be able to do it without each and every one of you. And maybe Tanya and I are talking, but each and every one of you is absolutely completely equal,
participating
equal,
actively.
yeah, equal in what you contribute, in what you bring to the group, and in what you do and what we do. So it's a co-creation for sure.
Thank you very, very much. And well, to Alexis, good night and sweet dreams. And I'm next going for a swim in the lake.
Oh, wonderful. And I've already been on the beach today, just had a good walk.
Great.
It's very hot now. We're in summer, but, so yes, I'll go off to sleep. So thank you. And until next time. Oh, and yes, please do join us next week for the
Next
new energy.
Saturday.
Yeah, for the new
Yes.
energy waltz. Check out our websites for details. Thank you.